Hi folks, welcome to my humble homestead in the forest on this beautiful fall day. Calm, fairly blue, sunny day after a couple of days of rain, and the solar panels are harvesting. And today I want to talk to you about something that affects us all. As you know, I'm mostly off the grid here and in the forest, and of course I need a car just as much as anybody because of being so isolated. Going to town requires a reliable car, requires a safe car, requires a car that can maybe sort of handle somewhat of an off-grid capability because of the rougher roads maybe, and also needs to have space so that when we go into town once a week or once a month, we can do a lot of shopping, hence the term going to town, the saying going to town. But this isn't just about me living off the grid and far away from town, but also you and really anybody. It doesn't matter how old you are, you're going to need a vehicle to get you to where you need to go for whatever appointments, shopping, whatever, trips. So, what is the best mode of transportation? And that's starts from a scooter that you stand on to a scooter like a Vespa moped kind of thing, to a car, to an SUV, to a pickup truck, to a bus, to a public transportation, to a bicycle, everything. So, and all of that, in addition to that, there's a self-driving and self-driving, not myself driving, but the car driving itself, and or driver driven. So I thought I'm way too productive and efficient to be able to narrow it down to a sort of a, this is the one absolute best car to drive for everyone, because I don't think that makes any sense, because there are different applications, there are different kinds of people, there are different needs that people have, and so why try to pick just one manufacturer or even one style of a car that's good for everyone? So today I came up with this scenario that may or may not exist yet, and if it doesn't exist, it will be soon. Well, let's talk about self-driving cars. A little history. I think a few years ago, maybe 15 years ago or so, the higher end car manufacturers started making cars that could park themselves and or bring the car out of a parking spot for the owner, for the driver. Then came, I think, Google Map cars that were driverless, although there was somebody sitting in the back just in case or something for mapping. And then came, I think, Tesla's is it called co-pilot or autopilot or whatever, I don't know, but something like that that could somehow somewhat drive itself. And then Subaru had something called eyesight that would keep you in lane, in the highway anyway, in your lane, and not veer off or all those things automatically if you engage that option. And now there's something called Waymo, I think, and it's owned by Google, which is pretty much driverless. So it's like an Uber and only without a driver. So by now, everyone's heard and everyone's commented and everyone has an opinion on AI being in our lives and to what degree, and if it's good, if it's evil, all that stuff. And so let's talk about that. AI as a driver. Well, so peaceful. Can you hear it? I love that. So here's the thing. As part of this being peaceful sound that you don't hear, just the nature and occasional migrating bird right now, I when we the car that you're looking at behind me, um, we chose this because it's slightly higher off the ground than an average car. It's sort of a station wagon, so it can hold a little bit more, has a little bit more volume to put more stuff in, or on the roof rack. It has a bigger engine that I would like, but it came with it. I didn't have a say. And the shocks are also a little bit more sturdy to handle the rough roads of the backcountry. What else about it? Really, that's pretty much it. They call this a wilderness. It is. I don't even know why, because half the things that are on it has nothing to do with wilderness. But I've written to them, but they don't care. But here's the thing: if I could design a car, I would. But the thing is, sometimes you need a car. Say you live in the city, you need a car to take you to your appointments. Right now, you have an option of, if you don't have a car, if you have a car, it's your car, and I'll come to that. And if you don't have a car, you can get a taxi, you can ask a friend, or you can ask Uber. I don't like so far any of those options, and let's break them down. If you have a car like I do here, you have to pay, first of all, for the car. Either you pay outright cash to purchase it, you lease it, monthly payments, and when you go to return it, if there's any damages, they substantially reduce the price of it, or the penalty of it, or you can borrow money to purchase it, and then so you're also paying, just like leasing, you're also paying an interest rate. What the interest rates varies according to the economic situation at that particular time. Nonetheless, you're paying interest rates. The car, in this case, a fossil fuel based car, needs gas, needs oil changes, brakes, brake pads, all the brake assembly, other parts of the in calipers and whatever, exhaust assembly, shocks that wear out, tires that need replacing. In Canada, you have to pay. In most countries, you have to pay every year to renew your license plate. Every year, like I said, insurance is, well, it can be yearly, annually, or monthly. And if it's monthly, you'll pay more. When you go to get gas, buy gas, you pay gas tax. And these are all expenses. It's not nothing. These are costs. Now, in our particular case here, we go to town, like I mentioned, once a week and also once a month to a different town, which is farther away, has more stores. But in terms of the economics of it, to own a car that sits in your driveway for 6 days of the week makes kind of no sense to pay that much in costs. Like I said, the purchase price, interest, taxes, gas, maintenance, everything. It's insane. And then it depreciates. Let's not forget that. That's another good point. Cars do depreciate. They're not, for the most part, except for during the pandemic where cars went up in value, for the most part, they go down. I've only seen cars go up in value once in my whole life. That was about 5 years ago. But other than that, they go down in value. Now, your other option was to hire a taxi. So you hire a taxi. I don't know what the rates are. I don't know the last time I hired a taxi. I hailed a cab, whatever you want to call it. And they're not cheap, but I understand that the person has to get a license, has to have a license, has to pay insurance, all these other things. They have a running cost, just like a business, like any other business. I don't think you have to tip the driver at the end of it. You do, you don't, I don't know. But there's a cost to that. The good thing about it is that it's on demand. So you get it, you call a cab in when you need it, and you get in it, you go to your place and come back. So it's not cheap, but it's a one-time thing. Well, 2 times if you're coming back home, but that's it till the next time that you need to hire a taxi driver. Your third option is Uber, which is one of my least favorite options. I never understood the economy of the economics of that. A guy comes out of a New York nightclub one day and with his friends all inebriated or whatever, and then they can't hail a cab and they say, "Oh, look at all these empty cars going by private. Um, I should get them to. We should get them, or I should get them to drive us to where we want to go, to home or wherever." And then they start this company. People line up to use their own cars to drive people to wherever at all hours of day, early morning, really early morning, like late night, like 2, 3 in the morning, to whatever time. And not to mention, if people are drunk, they can throw up in your car, they can scratch your car, they may not be able to hold their bowel movements. All these other, if you have if someone's taking a cat to a vet and the cat sprays, that smell never goes away. And then people rate you, like if they don't like you, they can, for whatever reason, they rate you. And then from the other side of the other side of this equation, you may not like the driver. The driver might be rude to you. The driver might want to talk to you. That you may not want to be bothered. They may. Who knows? They could take you somewhere and do whatever to you. I understand like I said, there are costs for the driver to a decent driver. But then let's talk about that decent driver. That decent driver has to buy that car, or lease the car, or rent the car, and all the maintenance and the upkeep. How much is that guy making for him to be worth doing this? I mean, are they bad at math, or is the rewards of the earnings are so high that it's worth it for them? Because a lot of people are doing it. And the guy that started the company, like the Airbnb guy, they're billionaires and they have no investments. They just came up with the program, if you ask me. So that's Uber part of it. And then there's public transportation, which for the longest time we've been talking about in North America. I'm not talking about Japan or Germany. In North America, they are unreliable at best. They can be late. They can be dirty. You don't want to touch all the places that other people have touched. People are sneezing, people are coughing, and it becomes like a, "Hey, you, hi." It becomes a petri dish, an incubation thing for viruses and all that stuff. I'm not a germaphobe. I still wouldn't like when I used to take the bus for so long. When I see someone sneezing into their hand and then touch the handles and the bars and things. Public transportation, bus or train, whatever that is. And then you have to still buy that or buy a pass. And the last time I had that when I was a student, I had to buy a pass, and the pass was only good for part of the city. I didn't understand that. It wasn't a pass that you could have access to all public transportation at all times of the day. It was only going for one way or in the morning. Hi. I see you. Tiny little chickadee. I have a video on chickadees, how they're fascinating creatures. Anyway, oh boy, I shouldn't have looked at the sun. And so that's your public transportation. So now, folks, let's hear me out. I know that a lot of you are against this already, but just hear my argument. Now, this Waymo kind of thing. Do I like Waymo? I don't like Waymo. I don't like Google. I don't like Facebook. I'd like to see them be no more one day. But my argument is not for Waymo as a company, but as self-driving, driverless vehicles that you could rent. So say me, for instance, we're in the middle of nowhere in the forest with some chickadees, and say I need to get some lumber. I need to go get some hay bales. I need to get some feed for animals, whatever. I could pick up a phone or whatever on my computer and say, I would like a pickup truck or a flatbed or whatever. The thing arrives, I get in it, we go to where we need to go to pick up whatever supplies I need, and then we come back here, unload it, go, that thing's gone. I don't have to pay any insurance fees. I don't have to pay any any other fees, any maintenance, any whatever, that's any taxes, any whatever associated with owning a vehicle. I don't have to do that. Now, I may be going to town one day. I don't need to get supplies or anything. Just grocery shopping, or running some errands or whatever. What I mean is, I don't need a pickup truck or something to transport big dirty stuff. So just a car. I can just ask a car. That's at a different rate. It arrives when I ask it to, and takes me to where I need to go. The same one or a different one returns me back home with my shopping. So same idea. I don't have to talk to a driver. I don't have to tip anyone. If you want to, you can rate the company that you're renting from, whatever, based on how maybe punctual they were, and if the car was flawless in taking you there and bringing you back, no issues. That's fine. Because what I mean is, if you're rating a person today, like Uber, they're rating you, you're rating them, and then becomes a thing where did you tip me or didn't tip me? You talked to me, you didn't talk to me. All these other things. You don't have to worry about that. I'm here because I don't want to be in the city dealing with people. Maybe you understand what I'm saying. When I'm in an inanimate object that's just like an AI or computer or whatever that I'm dealing with, I have, my expectations are different than a human being, and if it's very clear cut and precise and to the point. I don't need pleasantries. Make pleasantries with someone. I don't need them to be pleasant with me. I don't want them to be rude with me. The computer isn't rude to you, or AI isn't going to be rude to you. So these interactions, I like interactions with people that I like, but you might agree that sometimes in life you have to put up with people. I recently had to put up with two people that overcharged me for two hours of labor at $50 an hour. One of them didn't apologize. Certainly neither of them paid it back. And this is people we're talking about. This was just last week. Anyway, in case you're worried about cars or AI becoming evil one day, you may be right. We're not there yet, so let's not get into that yet. And then it might happen. I suppose anytime there's a chance that there's a lot of money to be made, there's a chance that the programmer of that particular whatever is going to want to steal your identity or anything to do with you, so they can sell that to someone else. All those other things. It's probably even happening right now. But my argument is that probably outweighs me having to interact with people that I don't like, for instance, or their incompetencies, or they overcharging me. There's no overcharging. When a driver list comes, they tell you how much a thing's going to cost you to take you there and come back. You say yes, you go and come back. When you hire people, they come. They could be smokers, which I can't stand. They could be alcoholics, which I can't stand. Any other issues, they could be arriving late, they could be littering, they could be loud, they could be judging you based on where you live or how you live, or all AI computer. It has none of that. They just show up, does the thing, and goes away. Now, in case you're wondering if whatever that can happen to cars, and we're not there where cars are so driverless, that is to say, cars are safe enough. Well, I'll give you an example, and you may be right, and I don't know. I'm just saying. Just want to give you the other side of the sort of an argument. The driverless cars are getting better. I'm sure you agree, and they can get hacked into. But here's the thing. They say it's safer to fly a plane, and it has been forever, than to drive a car. I haven't been on a plane for 20 years, and the time before that was another 20 years, so twice in 40 years. And I haven't had any issues, and I don't know anyone else that had a crash landing or anything. But why do you suppose that is? Have you this notion of co-pilot or autopilot, whatever? It comes from that industry. They've been at it, being on autopilot, being on co-pilot. The phrases that you hear, they've been at it for I don't know how many decades. Well, it's the same system that they're using in your car. What I mean is, I don't know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know how often a pilot mm, actually flies the plane, and actually lands the plane, other than perhaps during the bad weather, during descending or ascending or whatever, or actual landing when there's so much turbulence or so much wind and the pilot has to get engaged. And I'm thinking with time, planes will probably not need pilots at all, because they can probably account for that and keep the plane more steady. And yeah, they can get hacked into, but so a pilot can be inebriated or have a bad day. Certainly have issues at home. These are all things that can affect a human as much as that's for those of us, for those of you who think humans are some sentient beings that are above AI, and not actually thinking that we're also AI. But we won't get into that discussion. That's a video for another day. So they're bringing that same technology here. So if a plane can land today, land, fly, whatever, on its own with the pilot resting and just being there as a backup, so can a car. And that's been happening for decades, and they're bringing that to a car. For my money, right, I would rather not have a car sitting in my driver and just making a call or whatever, and having the exact kind of, say you have some guests, uh, you need a van. So a van shows up, you put in however number of people that you have in it and go. Now, it will hopefully one day even be better than that. And it would be, you remember how I said, say I need to get straw bales or whatever supplies for the farm. So I don't even need to have to even go with the driverless car. I can just place the order. It can bring all that stuff to me and unload it and go back. Same for my grocery shopping. I personally like to go to the store to do my grocery shopping, but some people, if they don't even have to go. They can place their order and then have this delivery car or service go to the store. It gets loaded and they bring it to you. And if they did that, that would even be more environmentally friendly. Let's not forget that. Let's talk about that. More environmentally friendly, because right now I have to drive to town and drive back, right? If the one step better that I said, a car comes to me, picks me up and goes to town and brings me back with my shopping, that's just me not owning a car, which is maybe less cars on the road. That's better. But it gets even better if like I said, I don't even have to go to town. The delivery car, truck, whatever that happens to be, whatever you happen to be needing to have delivered, only comes to you to wherever you are once. So you're not going and coming back. It just comes to you, brings the thing and goes. So it eliminates one whole trip. So anyway, I mean, if I'm wrong in any of this, let me know. But if I'm not, if you agree with me, I hope I managed to at least argue for the side of self-driving cars or AI. Again, I'm not saying I'm for AI or self. I'm just saying, for my money, I'd rather go with no human interactions that I didn't ask for, that I'm not a fan of, that I don't like. They're not my friends or people that are like-minded. We can chat or whatever on our way. Given an option for me, I will go with automated anytime.